Welcome all to the course of Data Communication and Networking, BE 7th semester, Electronics and Communication Engineering. We are discussing a data link layer in which we have discussed various protocol in our previous sessions. We continue our data link control part 5 in this session. So let's start our discussion. Yes. A last point in this data link control is a point to point protocol, or it is our last session for this same topic. In the next session we are going for a further topics. Although our SDLC is a general protocol that can be used for both point to point and multi-point configurations. Fine. One of the most common protocol for a point to point access is our point to point protocol called as a PPP. And our PPP is a byte oriented protocol. Today, millions of internet users who need to connect their home computers to their server of the internet service provider uses our PPP protocol. The majority of these users have a traditional modem. They are connected to the internet through a telephone line which provides the service of the physical layer. But the control and the management of the transfer of the data, they need a point to point protocol at the data link layer. So far we can say that our PPP is the most common used protocol. Following topic to be discussed in this session, that framing, transition phases, multiplexing and multi-link PPP. So first of all, what are the service provided by our PPP protocol? So let's define the services provided by our PPP protocol. Our PPP defines the format of the frame to be exchanged between the device. Means a format can be defined by our PPP protocol. It is a PPP, correct it? Our PPP defines how two devices can negotiate the establishment of the link and exchange of the data. Means a link establishment and data transfer. Our PPP defines how our network layer data are encapsulated in the data link frames. Means encapsulation will be there. Our PPP defines how two devices can authenticate each other. Means our two devices can be connected with this PPP protocol by this fundamental. Our PPP provides a multiple network layer services, providing a variety of network layer protocol. Means our this protocol will be working on this network layer protocol, and it can be supported by the variety of this different protocols to serve the upper layer. Our PPP provides the connection over the multiple links. Means one link can be shared by another protocol or another task that can be shared with this PPP protocol. Our PPP provides a network address configuration. This is particularly useful when a home user needs a temporary network address to connect the internet. Means there will be address configuration in our PPP protocol. This PPP ID you might have seen when you have a particular internet service provider provide you a particular ID. It is your PPP ID and a password given to you. When you enter this PPP ID and password, then you can access the internet through your internet service provider. So I think a student or a person who have an internet connection via a broadband, they have a PPP ID and password. On the other hand, our PPP is a simple and several services are missing. So what are the services are missing? What are the drawbacks of the PPP? Our PPP does not provide a flow control. A sender can send the several frames one after another with no concern about the overwhelming the receiver. Means there is no feedback or there is no acknowledgement received in our PPP protocol. Our PPP has a very simple mechanism for an error control, and CRC field is used to detect the errors. If the frame is corrupted, it is slightly discarded. The upper layer protocol needs to take care of the problem. Lack of the error control and the sequence numbering may cause a packet to be received out of the order. So there might be problem at the receiving side. Our PPP does not provide a sophisticated addressing mechanism to handle the frames in a multi-point configuration. When a multiple configuration is there, there will be addressing problem with this PPP protocol. So fine. So these are the drawbacks or some pitfall of our PPP protocol. So let's discuss the PPP frame format. Our PPP is a byte oriented protocol. As you know, framing is done according to the discussion of the byte oriented protocols in the beginning of this chapter. So it is a frame format of our PPP protocol. It have flag, address, control, protocol, payload, FCS and flag. These all field to be discussed over here. So we can say that it contains 7 slots, or we can say that 6 slot. Flag is starting at the ending of the frame. So first of all, let's discuss what is a flag. A PPP frame starts and ends with an 1 byte flag with a bit pattern of 0 1 1 1 1 1 1 0. Although this pattern is the same that used in our SDLC, there is a big difference. PPP is a byte oriented protocol, where our SDLC is a bit oriented protocol. So you remember this thing. There is a byte in our SDLC, it is a bit. So our flag is treated as a byte. We will explain later. Fine. Next is address field. Our address field is a protocol, is a constant value that set to 1111111. As you can see in this figure, you can say that it is a broadcast address. Fine. During the negotiation, the two parties may agree to omit this byte. Next is control field. This field is set to the constant value of 110000, intimating unnumbered frames in our SDLC. As we will see in this chapter, that PPP does not provide any flow control. Fine. And error control is also limited to the error detection. This means that this field is not needed at all. Again, the two parties can agree during the negotiation to omit this byte. Fine. Next field is protocol. The protocol field defines what is being carried in the data field, either user data or the other information. We discuss this field in detail shortly. This field is by default a 2 byte long, but the two parties can agree to use only 1 byte. Okay. Payload field. This field carries either a user data or the other information that will be discussed shortly. The data field is sequence of the bytes with a default of the maximum of 1500 bytes, but this can be changed during the negotiation. The data field is byte substruct if the flag byte pattern appears in the field. Fine. Because there is no field defining the size of the data field, padding is needed if the size is less than the maximum default value or the maximum negotiable value. Means a padding is required. Last is FCS. The frame check sequence, you can say that it is simply a 2 byte or a 4 byte standard CRC, cyclic redundancy check. So it is a frame format of our PPP protocol. Yes. One of the important point to be discussed over here is a byte stuffing. The similarity between the PPP and the SDLC and at the frame format. Fine. Our SDLC will be bit oriented and our PPP is a byte oriented. As we have discussed before, it is a byte oriented protocol, totally different from our SDLC. As a byte oriented protocol, flag is PPP is a byte and needs to be escaped when it appears in the data section of the frame. The escape byte is 0 1 1 1 1 0 1, which means that every time a flag like pattern appears in the data, this extra byte is stuck to tell the receiver that the next byte is not a flag. Fine. So we can say that our PPP is a byte oriented protocol using the byte stuffing with an escape byte is 0 1 1 1 1 1 0 1. Transition phases. Our PPP connection goes through the phases which can be shown in the transition phase. You can see in this diagram. Fine. There are various fields: dead, terminate, open, establish, authenticate, and network. It is a stage of our transition phases. So let's discuss each one. First is dead. In the dead phase, the link is not being used. There is no active carrier at a physical layer, and the line is quit. Fine. There is nothing happens at this phase. In the establish, when one of the nodes starts the communication, the connection goes into the phase. In this phase, options are negotiated between the two parties. If negotiation is successful, the system goes to the authentication phase if the authentication is required, or direct to the networking phase. Fine? Or direct to the networking phase. The link control protocol packet will be discussed or use this process. Several packets may be exchanged here. Fine. Authenticate phase. The authenticate phase is optional. The two nodes may be decided during the establishment of the phase, not the skip this phase. However, if they decide to proceed with the authentication, they send us several authentication packets discussed in the later. If the result is successful, our connection goes to the networking phase. Otherwise, it goes to the terminate phase. Fine. You can see this. If our authenticate fails, it will terminate. If it is success, it will go network phase. Next is network phase. In this network phase, a negotiation of the network layer protocol takes place. Our PPP specifies that two nodes establish the network layer agreement before the data at the network layer can be exchanged. The reason is that the PPP supports multiple protocols at the network layer. If a node is running multiple protocols simultaneously at the network layer, the receiving node needs to be know which protocol will receive the data. Next is open phase. In the open phase, the data transfer takes place. When a connection reaches these phases, the exchange of the data packets can be started. The connection remains in this phase until one of the endpoints wants to terminate the connection. Our terminate phase. In the termination phase, the connection is terminated. Several packets are exchanged between these two ends of the house, cleaning and closing the link. Okay, so it is our transmission phase of our PPP protocol. Diagram shows entire process very clearly. Now, multiplexing in PPP. Although our PPP is a data link layer protocol, our PPP uses another set of other protocols to establish a link, authenticate the parties involved, and carry the network layer data. Three sets of the protocols are defined to make PPP powerful. Our LCP, called as an link control protocol, the two authentication protocol over here, and the several network control protocols over here. At any moment, our PPP packet can carry the data from the one of this protocol to its data field as shown in our figure. Note that there is a one LCP, two AP, and the several NCPs. The data may also come from the several different network layers. Fine. So it is our multiplex in our PPP protocol. So first is link control protocol, LCP. Our link control protocol is responsible for our establishing, maintaining and configuring, and last, terminating the links. It also provides the negotiation mechanism to set the option between the two endpoints. Both endpoints of the link must reach an agreement about the option before the link will be established. Our figure shows our link control protocol within various fields. In our LCP packet, it will be available in our payload field, that the code, ID, length and information available in our LCP packet. All LCP packets are carried in the payload field of the PPP frame with the protocol set to C021 in an hexadecimal. The code field defines the type of the LCP packet. Here there are 11 types of packets as shown in our table. Fine. So there are 11 types of different LCP packets, which is our code have ID. Fine. So you can look at this. Hexadecimal value have an packet type and its description. Suppose 0x02 our configuration acknowledgement, which accept all the options proposed. There are three categories of packets. The first category is the first four packets type. Fine. Over here, for 1 2 3 4, which is used for the link configuration during the establishment phase. Our second category comprising the packets from 5 and 6, which is used for our link termination during the termination phases. Fine. So it is a configure, it is a terminate. The last 5 packets are used for the link monitoring and debugging. Okay, so you can see this port reject, protocol reject, echo request, echo reply and discard request. The ID field holds the value that matches a request with a reply. One endpoint inserted a value in this point, which will be copied into the reply packet. The length field defines the length of the entire LCP packet. The information field contains the information such as options needed for the some LCP packets. There are many options that can be negotiated between the two endpoints. Options are inserted in the information field of our configuration packets. In this case, our information field is divided into the three fields: option type, option length and option data. We list some of the most common options in our table. Right? So it is some most common options used in our PPP. Before going for a PAP, let's discuss about the authentication of protocols. Our authentication plays a very important role in our PPP because our PPP is designed for our use over the dial-up links where verification of the user identity is necessary. The authentication means the validating the identity of the user who needs to access a set of the resources. Our PPP has created the two protocols for authentication. First is password authentication protocol and the challenge handshake authentication protocol, which will be discussed shortly. Note that these protocols are used for the during the authentication phases. So let's discuss our PAP, or called as a password authentication protocol. In our PAP, it is a simple authentication protocol or procedure with a two-step process. First, the user who wants to access the system sends an authentication identification, usually the username and a password, as I already told you, for a internet service provider. The system checks the validity of the identification and the password, and the entire either accepts or denies the connection. Means it will match our credential with our database with server. If both matches, then it will accept, otherwise it denies the connection. Our figure shows the three types of packets by the PAP: authenticate request, authenticate acknowledgement, authenticate negative acknowledgement, and how they are actually exchanged. When our PPP frame is carrying any PAP packets, the value of the protocol is 0xC023. The three PAP packets are authenticate request, authenticate acknowledgement, authenticate negative acknowledgement. Our first packet is used by the user to send the username and password. Our second is used by the system to allow the access, and the third is used by the system to deny the access. Fine. Okay, so it is our just brief overview of our authentication in our PAP. CHAP. A second protocol used in our PPP is our challenge handshake authentication protocol, called as a CHAP. It is a three-way handshaking authentication protocol that provides a greater security than PAP. In this method, our password is kept secret and it is never sent online. Okay. Our system sends a user a challenge packet containing a challenge value, usually a few bytes. Our user applies the predefined function that takes the challenge value and the user's own password and creates the result. Our user sends the result in the respond packet to the system. The system does the same. It applies the same function to the password of our user known to the system and the challenge value to create the result. If the result created is the same as the result sent in the response packet, access is granted, otherwise it is denied. Our CHAP is more secure than PAP, especially in the system continuously changes the challenge value. Even if the intruder learns the challenge value and the result, the password is still secret. Our figure shows the packets and how they are used. Okay. Our CHAP packets encapsulated in PP frame with a protocol value of C223 in our hexadecimal value. There are 4 CHAP packets over here: challenge, response, success, or failure. The first packet is used by the system to send the challenge value. The second is used by the user to return the result of the calculation. The third one is used by the system to allow the access to the system, and our fourth used by the system to deny the access to the system. Okay, so it is our CHAP packet frame. Next is our network control protocol, NCP. Our PPP is a multiple network layer protocol. Right? It can carry a network data packets from the proceeding defined by the Internet, OSI, and several companies. To do this, our PPP has defined a specific network control protocol for each network protocol. For example, IPCP, our Internet Protocol Control Protocol, configures the link for the carrying the IP data packets. Another company, Xerox CP, does the same for the Xerox protocol, that packets, and so on. Note that the NCP packets carry the network layer data. They just configure the link at the network layer for the incoming data. IPCP. One NCP protocol is an Internet Protocol Control Protocol, IPCP. This protocol configures the link used to carry the IP packets in the Internet. the IPCP is especially in the interest to the us. The format of the IPCP is shown in this figure. Note that the value of the protocol is in this hexadecimal is 8021. Okay, so it is the packet format of our IPCP protocol. IPCP defines the 7 packets distinguished by their codes value shown in this table. There are 7 values are there, each have a different IPCP packets. Other protocols, there are another NCP protocols for the other network layer protocols. The OSI network layer control protocol has a protocol field value of 8023. The Xerox NC IDP control protocol has a protocol field value of 8025 and so on. The value of the code, the format of the packets of these other protocols are known in this table. Our data from the network layer. After the network layer configuration, it is completed by the one of the NCP protocols. The user can exchange the data packets from the network layer. Here again, there are different protocol fields for the different network layers. For example, our PPP is carrying the data from the IP network layer. A field value is 0021. Note that the 3 rightmost digits are the same for the IPCP. If the PPP carrying the data from the OSI layer, the value of the protocol field is 0023. Our figure shows the frame from the IP. Fine. Multi-link PPP. Our PPP was originally designed for the single channel point-to-point physical link. The availability of the multi-point channel in the single point-to-point link motivated the development of the multi-point PPP or multi-link PPP. In this case, our logical PPP frame is divided into the several actual PPP frames. A segment of the logical frame is carried in the payload of an actual PPP frames, as we can see this figure. To show that the actual PPP frame is carrying the fragment of the logical PPP frame, and the protocol field is set to 003D. The new development adds the complexity. For example, the sequence number needs to be added in the actual PPP frame to show the fragment's position in the logical frame. Fine. It is our logical PPP. This is payload. Let's have an example. To illustrate this example, consider this figure. Fine. Let us go through the phase followed by the network layer packets in the transmitted through a PPP connection. Our figure shows the steps. Simply, we assume that the unidirectional movement of the data from the user side to the system side, such as sending an email through ISP. The first 2 frames shown a link establishment. We have chosen the 2 options not shown in the figure, using the PIP for the authentication and the suppressing the address control. Our frame 3 and 4 are used for the authentication. So it is a establish, it is a authentication. Our frame 5 and 6 used to establish the network layer connection using the TCP. So there is a network written over here. The next several frames shown in the same IP packets are encapsulated in a PPP frame. The system receiver may have been running several network layer protocols, but it knows that the incoming data must be delivered in an IP protocol because our NCP protocol used for the data transfer was a IPCP. After the data transfer, there is a termination of the data link connection, which is acknowledged over here by the system. Of course, the user or the system could have chosen to terminate the network layer IPCP and keep the data link layer running if wanted to run another NCP protocol. The example is trivial, but it points out the similarities of the packets in LCP, AP and NCP. It also knows the protocol field values and code numbers of a particular protocols. So we complete this data link control over here. So let's revise in a 1 minute that what we have discussed today is, first of all, we have discussed the point-to-point protocol. We have discussed the services and their drawbacks in the same. We have discussed the frame format, byte stuffing, various transition phases of our PPP protocol, multiplexing. We have seen 3 protocols, LCP, AP and NCP in detail with the help of the various diagram and frame structure. Fine. So we conclude our session over here. Following question are here to write down in your notebook and send back it to me as per the given direction. See you soon with a new session and new unit. Thank you.